Hey, thanks for joining me for PerkStream as we look at the character of God. There isn't just one word that captures his essence, but he handpicked a few words to help us understand who he is. When he revealed himself to Moses as the Lord, the compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger and abounding in love and faithfulness. Well, God is compassionate towards us as he feels our pain in his heart. Something about our pain touches a nerve in him and causes him to respond to us. But where does the gracious part come in, particularly when we don't always have favor for God and what he wants to do? Well, that's where we do turn to this word gracious. Gracious is the word that we could say, hey, when somebody does something for you and gets you out of a jam, but you didn't deserve it, that's gracious. That's really gracious. Well, and that's how God acts towards us. But what's motivating that for God? Very often, what's motivating it for God is something that the Hebrew word kanun really captures. And it's not just a gracious act done just to get somebody out of a jam, it's a gracious act that's motivated by God's delight and favor towards us. It's the way that the picture is set up in the book of Esther, where Esther goes to the king without being called for, which is a death sentence. But because the king delights in Esther, he shows her favor and allows her to live and give her request to the king. Now, we could say that Esther was already in the favor of the king. The king already delighted in Esther. So, where does that leave us? How can we say that God has favor and graciousness towards us? Well, that's the picture that Jesus sets up in the prodigal son. The prodigal son basically tells his dad to go away. I want your money. And he goes off and he loses it all. He's reduced to a common laborer and realizes that if that's his life, he could do that at home. So he goes home to work for his dad. But his dad doesn't have that plan for him. While he was still a long way off, his father had compassion for him. There was something about the boy that uh, caused a pain in his father's heart. And then he treated him with favor, with graciousness. He gave him shoes, he gave him a robe, he gave him a ring on the finger. He invited him back into the family. That's graciousness, that's grace. And we understand that because when we were undeserving, God showed us his favor. When we were undeserving, when we were his enemies, Christ died for us. He shows us grace because it's in his nature to delight in the things that he has made, which includes us. So I'm going to encourage you to seek the Lord today. Seek his graciousness, seek his Hanun, because he wants to show it to you. He has compassion for us, he has graciousness for us. And as we seek his face, we will find that he wants to delight and favor us with that graciousness.